we're Team Modulus from Tapton School, and we're here to present to you our satellite. So we've designed this to facilitate groups and companies, a bit like some of you here, to collect data from space, particularly from LEO, which is low Earth orbit, just below the ISS, which is where this is designed to orbit. We did this is not an Irish project, we did this as part of the engineering education scheme run by EBT.
So we started off by designing the frame, and we first did that in CAD software, which is called Autodesk Inventor. The top right photo there shows one of our first sort of designs in that. And from that we created drawings, which is like those in the top left, and also drawings of individual parts, which then meant we could actually manufacture the real thing that you see here. So most of the frame is made from aluminium brackets, and on the four long sides it's coated with solar panels which provide the power, and that's the actual real size, so it's just as small as that. The antenna here, and you can see in the picture as well, they're just made of tape measure, and they can fold down either side, which makes the total volume smaller, and that makes the launch much cheaper because you can have multiple satellites tessellating together in the same launch bay. And on the other side, on the back, and of course that. And on the other side on the back is a sensor, and that may vary, but at the moment it's got a
So another really important part of the development of the satellite was the electronics and programming. So we can see in the middle image, this is the interior of the satellite. All the main components are mounted on a PCB. So in the bottom right you can see the embed. So we were coupled with a company called ARM, who produced microprocessors called embeds. So that's sort of the brains of the satellite, and that's where all the data flows. Underneath the PCB is the battery, and as Emily said before, the solar panels power the battery, which powers it.
A lot of our other focus was spent on trying to make the radio communications work. So if you look at the middle picture, on the bottom left you can see the radio module, and that just takes the signals from the embed, all the data, and then transforms it into a modulated frequency wave, and it can be transmitted by the antenna at the bottom. And you can see us testing that on the left there. Another thing that people often don't think about is the programming, because obviously if you don't program it, you just have an empty shell. So we've been programming with C++.
Although our mini-modular satellite can have many different sensors attached according to restrictions to do with both the size and dimensions of the sensor as well as the power input requirements, for this particular project we decided to go with the highly accurate and precise magnetometer.
So what the magnetometer does, as you might have guessed, is it measures magnetic field strength. And what we've decided to use it for is to measure the magnetic field strength of the Earth. So what we'd do with the satellite is we'd send it up into orbit, and preferably we'd have an array of satellites positioned all around the Earth, and they would map the Earth's magnetic field in real time and see how it's changing.
The main reason why we chose this particular function is that currently predictions for the near future changes to the Earth's magnetic field are highly inaccurate, and therefore, in theory, if our modular satellites are actually launched in large enough arrays, they could collect geolocated data about the Earth's magnetic field strength all across their orbits, transmit it back to Earth, and then it could be analysed by citizen scientists, such as, say, for instance, IRIS projects, in the future theoretically, which could then contribute to better future predictions for how the Earth's magnetic field is going to change. Sudden fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic field strength could have severe impacts on Wi-Fi infrastructure. Say, for instance, if there was a period of low magnetic field strength combined with mass coronal ejection, which could then cause an electromagnetic pulse, which could wipe out large areas of the world's Wi-Fi infrastructure in theory. Therefore, the greater predictions based on our modular data that we have collected could possibly predict these events and give governments the time to use their resources more effectively to combat these crises and prevent them.
And so
So I just want to talk more about what's on this slide. That's the magnetometer on the left-hand side at the top. And yeah, sorry. And then this is just an idea of the data that we actually get from it. So the column underneath the arrow is the actually important bit. It looks complicated, but actually it's quite simple.
And so just to sum up, we built a small, cheap satellite which can be launched either individually or as an array. It's got an interchangeable payload which allows it to be used by many clients. And thanks for listening.
Okay, so the question is, how do you launch it?
So the idea being with the launching multiple copies, they'd have them tessellating in sort of one launch rocket. There's a lot of rockets where you can have several missions and lots of different satellites all launched together on the same rocket because that's cheaper. So if you've got a lot of small satellites together, the idea being that you would launch them on one rocket and they'd all deploy in the relevant orbits. So that could be several missions together, or it could be lots of the same mission. But obviously, launching is really expensive, so that's one of the problems we have with actually physically launching it.